Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you what you need to do when you get stuck and you get into that brain jam of thinking that you can't do something. It's one of the stages that most parents will say that their child goes through at a very young age, but then it can sometimes crop up again a little bit later in life. And that is the stage of saying, I can't do it. Some adults get stuck there and they never make their way out again. So I want to give you some strategies for being able to get yourself past that thinking of I can't do it. Let us begin. I'm just going to give you 3 things. There's probably more, but I want to keep it simple so that it will stick in your brain even better. So thing number 1 is, when we say the word can't, that word in English is known as a modal operator, or sometimes known as a modal verb. And that's one of those words where it kind of sounds like you could say it in a slightly different way and it's going to have a completely opposite end of the spectrum kind of meaning. So can't is made up of can and not. So it could be can or it could be can't. And those are going to be like your 2 different sides of the coin. Will has got the flip side of won't. Should has got the flip side of shouldn't. So all of these words are like married to another word in a way. Now what would happen in an ideal world is that your can't turns into a can, and then you say I can do it. But if I told you to just tell yourself that you can do something when deep down you feel like you can't, you're going to feel as if you're lying to yourself, and it won't work. And I don't want you lying to yourselves, because that is not a good habit to have anyway. So here's what we're going to do instead. We're going to take can't and we're going to turn it into something which is a little bit less powerful on the negative and a little bit more powerful on the positive. We know that we're starting at can't, we know we want to get to can, so we're going to put some stepping stones in place to get you there eventually. And that might take a few days, it might take a couple of weeks of you starting to tell yourself a different message in order to program your brain into thinking in a more positive way. So if we were to change can't into won't. Now, won't is still pretty negative because that's will not. Instead of I can't do it, it's like I won't do it. But the good thing about won't is that it stops being about your ability and it starts being about your choice. With the word can't, we're saying, I haven't got the skills. I can't do it. When we say won't, that's more like, I may have the skills, but I'm choosing not to do it. And if nothing else, that gives you back a little bit of a sense of power, and that is a good thing. So you could change from saying I can't do it to I won't do it yet. If we add yet at the end of that sentence, then suddenly we take ourselves from having like the door completely closed to it's shut, but you know what, I've got the keys and I can go through that door anytime I choose to. And again, that's even more helpful. Now, once we've decided, actually, I can do it, it's just that I won't do it yet, then we can start thinking about the next step after that. Where is the next stage for us to go to? So what would I choose? I would go to could next. Now, could isn't saying I'm definitely doing it. Could is saying if I really wanted to, I could get the skills that are required, I could find a way forward. I'm just not doing that yet. But it's taken it back into some positivity, and we've still got ownership because it's like, I could. It's not that I don't have the ability to do this. If I wanted to, I could. So could works really well, I think, as a next step. Now, we're still trying to get to can, and we probably could go from I could do it to I can do it. But I feel like we maybe want something with a bit more backbone and a bit more certainty to it. So we could go from I could do it to I am going to do it. I want. How about that? I want to do it. There is desire in there is need in there is commitment starting to come through if we say I want to do it. So then we go from I want to do it, and we can easily then slip towards I can do it. And from I can do it, we might even go a step beyond and say I will do it. So this is the very first trick, is to start changing your language, but we're not going to go from one end of the scale all the way over to the opposite end. We're going to put those stepping stones in place so that we can begin to make our way there. The second useful thing for you to do is to think back on things that you could not do once upon a time, but you did go on to achieve. For example, once upon a time, you could not walk because you were a baby. You learnt how to do it. It was one of the most challenging and fundamentally important things you ever did. If you cannot walk, you probably did learn to talk. So learning language, especially the English language, is one of the most difficult things you will ever have to master in your entire life, and you probably did it by the time you were 3. So you know that you have the kind of brain that can learn. You did it before. You even did it when you were still pooping in a nappy. You still made that happen. So you have the kind of brain that can learn. Think about all of the things that you have mastered and all of the things that you have learned. You are a flaming genius. So don't forget that. Build yourself up by reminding yourself of those particular skills. And finally, so first tip is use your language, move yourself step by step towards how it is you want to be thinking, feeling and reacting instead. Second thing is for you to focus on the things that you have made possible in the past, the things that you've totally smashed, and how young you were back then when you did those things. You have the ability to do stuff. The third thing is going to be changing how you are using your physiology in that moment. So the word physiology in simple terms just means body. If your body is like this, you are sending a message to your brain that says, I'm well stuck here. There's quite frankly no point even trying. And here's why. There's a few things going on in that physiology. The first thing is that I'm slouched forward. When I slouch forward, I squish up my lungs and I lose all of that space in there to be able to breathe in and to breathe in nice and deeply. Do we think breathing is important? Yes, we do. So we want to be able to make sure that our brain's getting loads of oxygen so that it can think properly, which means that we need to give ourselves all of that space, all of that capacity in our lungs by not squishing them up, instead by sitting up and giving ourselves, the room to breathe. We also want to avoid putting our head down like this, because when we do that, there is a particular way in which your eyes move that links up with how it's making your brain think. If your eyes go up like this, it forces your brain to be creative and to find ideas. When you put your eyes down like this, it can force your brain to become more emotional and to start getting in touch with your feelings. Which, if you're feeling bad already about not being able to do something, is not going to be particularly helpful. So we're going to sit ourselves up, we're going to put our eyes either forwards or up in the air, and then we're going to take a nice deep breath so that we fill up our lungs with oxygen and we can power our brains in doing this way. We might even get ourselves physically moving to get some adrenaline and some buzz inside of our body, and we might do that by having a quick run around the block or doing 5-star jumps or something like that, that tells your brain and your body, come on guys, I need you to synchronize and work together to give me the answers. So if you are ever in that state where you are thinking, I can't do this, start to change the language on it. Begin to focus on the other thing I said, and I cannot remember what that was. What was it? If you find yourself in that head funk where you are unable to move past the I can't do it, your 3 things to do are: number 1, change your language, start to remove the can't and turn it into something that's going to propel you in the right direction. Thing number 2 is to remind yourself of all the things that you have achieved that you couldn't once do, so that you give yourself back that little sense of, yeah, you know what, actually I can make things happen. And the third thing for you to do is to change your physiology so that you get your brain into a state of having the best possible chance of powering up and giving you the solutions that you need to do the thing that you actually want to do. So that is all for today. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Leave me your comments in the comments box below. Let me know if any of those tactics have worked for you in the past, or which ones you're going to be using in the future. Subscribe to this channel if you have not already done so by clicking the red subscribe button. Hit the notifications bell so that you get notified the next time I upload a video, and give this one a thumbs up if you found it useful or helpful for you in some way. But for now, thank you so much for watching and listening, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!